everybody, and welcome to the 2015 Magnificent Seven film autopsy of the best films, or at least our favorites, of 2014. Now, like we've done before, Salman has his list of seven, and I have my list of seven. There may be some overlap. There may not be. We might have a very different opinion about some of these films, so we'll just start off. Why don't you tell us what your number one film from 2014 was?
And we want to go quickly because I'm pretty sure that you have some terrible films on the list, and so we will start with good ones and we go. Okay, so I was split between very unsurprising top two films, Boyhood and Birdman. But I put Boyhood on top simply because tremendous effort. Richard Linklater did a phenomenal thing. If nothing else, the fact that he made this kind of film, he thought about it to do it for 12 years, and nothing happens in the movie, and yet it's gripping, and life happens. Loved it.
Okay, well, this gives us an opportunity. My number one was Birdman, and the two films are fantastically conceived and directed, but extremely different. They're like oil and water, night and day. I put Birdman on top because I felt that it was very ambitious, and he carries it out. Like, there's not a glitch in the film. And the performances that he gets from these people are fantastic. The concept is great. It gets you thinking about art, about identity, about theater, cinema, YouTube, contemporary means of communication and self-identification. I think it is the best film of the year.
And I would also say it's also about life. I mean, I love the juxtaposition, the fact that there was this improvisational drumming going on.
Yeah.
And in
you don't know
sense,
what's going to happen.
And in some sense, that was also about life. I mean, how life goes. I mean, you have to improvise, both in terms of relationships, in terms of things that happen. So
well, can I segue from that into my number two?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Because Inherent Vice is my number two, and I think there's a strong link there between what you're saying about anything can happen, and in Inherent Vice, it's a really well-made film. It is a bit gonzo, for sure, but I like that because the subject matter is America, American identity, conflicts within the States, a great country, a savage country, a bizarre country, a very straight, straight-faced country, and all of it's in there, and you have this private investigator played by Joaquin Phoenix trying to make sense of it all, and it is just a joy to watch. It's a little mind-blowing in times in terms of trying to keep track of, did that just happen or did it just happen in his head? I thought it was a great film. Again, Paul Thomas Anderson knocks one out of the park, but in a very different genre.
Let me see where Inherent Vice is on my list. Give me a second. Okay. Nope. No, I can't find it. It's an enjoyable film in some ways. Otherwise, I actually think that if you didn't know it was directed by Paul Thomas Anderson and that it was based on a novel by Pynchon, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be talking about that. It's incoherent, and I know it's deliberately incoherent, but it's an incoherent film, and I'm sorry. I mean, I think The Master is one of my favorite films of the last decade or more. This one, I'm sorry, it was as much fun as watching somebody else getting stoned, and you just say, hey, they are stoned, but that's about it. Okay.
All right, so it's not on your list, but what's your number two?
My number two is Birdman. That's the reason I was jumping in there, because I think Birdman, I absolutely loved it, and it's great. My number three, or if you're gonna go, what's your number?
No, you go with number three. That's fine.
I would go with a Force Majeure, which is just it's a.
Are we
Swedish...
counting foreign films this year? I honestly, I don't think I saw one foreign language film all that year. I'm embarrassed to say.
No, Force Majeure. It seems very conventional. It's a Swedish film, and some people call it comedy. I don't think, I mean, it might be comedy, but it's just spectacular. It's wonderfully done. It is based on sort of like it's a commentary on the bourgeois lifestyle. It's set in an upscale ski resort, and then something happens that you might have seen in the previews, like, and then things change. It's a great commentary on contemporary marriage and contemporary relationships, and also on gender matters. I mean, it has some beautiful twist. It's shot beautifully. It reminded me on multiple levels of Kubrick, and I don't say that lightly, but there are several elements of it that I would say, some of it's from Eyes Wide Shut, some of it from even The Shining, because it's located in the ski resort, and also some from 2001 Space Odyssey. Some of the internal shots are like that. It's a spectacular film. If you haven't seen it, do watch it. It's great.
I haven't seen it.
But do check it out. What's your number 3?
It is. I do have a not seen but must of 2014, which we may not get into, but it's definitely on that list. My number 3 is Jonathan Glazer's Under the Skin. I found that to be a very unique film. Kind of a small, quiet little quasi sci-fi, but as a good allegory on, again, gender relations, the place of women in society, but also this character played by Scarlett Johansson kind of holds up this mirror to contemporary society as well. I thought it was very well made, and I really think also hats off to, I mean, visually very interesting, great sequences there, and hats off to Scarlett Johansson for doing such a small film. Now, Jonathan Glazer's done some other, bigger films. I don't think a film like this would have been made if she wasn't in it, so I put that as my number 3. It's really
it is high for me at number 7. I mean I really enjoyed it, and it's a very interesting film, and the visuals, as you mentioned, especially, and the sci-fi element. I mean, there's a spookiness to it. It is based on a novel that has more sci-fi element, and here it just takes one element of it and just base it on Earth. It is certainly a really, interesting. I mean, it's one of the most interesting films of 2014. But it's, for me, it's a little bit lower than that. Well, I picked for 4. I have another sci-fi film, Snowpiercer, which was a science fiction film based upon a crazy premise that you have the world has sort of has a climate impact, has completely frozen the world except for this one train that is running, and everybody is on it.
Nuclear power.
Sorry.
Nuclear-powered train.
Nuclear-powered train, and well, kind of. And but this is one of those films where it's done by a South Korean director, and it just takes that and provides a wonderful commentary on, for example, class, and it has action sequences, and it has so many different layers to it within this premise that all of humanity is on this, if you might call it, arc. And so it was surprising, and it was and I really appreciated that.
Okay, well, speaking of arcs, my number 4 is Noah, and I remember, and I have you to thank, honestly. When I saw the preview for that, I was like, oh, come on, I can't take another biblical film. And you're like, no, but dude, it's directed by Aronofsky. I'm like, well, I don't know. And so anyhow, you kind of dragged me to see that, and I thought it was fantastic. Completely breaks the mold of the biblical film. It in and of itself is a very interesting take on the story of Noah and life before the flood, but also on man's relationship to the idea of a God versus our relationship to our own fellow human beings. I think there's some complex stuff in there that might not actually be in the Old Testament itself, but Aronofsky breathes really interesting intellectual life into the story of Noah. And that's my number 4.
And that's my pairing for number 5. I mean, I also thought Snowpiercer and Noah, because I think it's an excellent movie, and it really brings about, it's more Aronofsky's strength in looking at darker characters and sort of going into that psyche. And I think the character of Noah is brilliantly made for Aronofsky in that sense. And I remember, one of the struggles in there was sort of that, is Noah a good guy or not? And at one point it says why did God chose me? And he says, actually, no, God didn't choose me because I was good, because God chose me because I would get the job done. and that, so that complexity, and we never hear or see God, so there is ambiguity whether he is just a crazy guy or thinking about all these things, or there's something more to it. And the presence of taking the biblical story and creating those angels in the beginning. That was just, you just go, whoa, I'm totally in it, whatever is happening. So, wonderful film. So, you go for number 5.
Number 5 for me is Locke by Stephen Knight. Sometimes the film has been talked about as a little bit gimmicky. It's not. You have Tom Harding driving in a car from somewhere in northern England to London. The entire film takes place with him inside his car driving to London, and the conversations are ones he has on speakerphone with various individuals, his family, people he works with, people he has relationships with, and it's not gimmicky at all because it works really well, and the story itself is just really well suited to that kind of very limited form of cinematography and setting. And I thought Harding was great, and that's why I really give it also for Stephen Knight as a director to pull that off as a gripping film that essentially has one person in it. It was great.
It's my tie at number 7 actually. So Locke was also It's I mean the fact that if you tell somebody the premise and you would think that somebody talking and there is no other character in the film and that he would be
that we see at least
on the phone in a car, and you would think, oh my goodness, how are they gonna pull it off? But actually, it's gripping, it's thrilling. You don't know where it's going, and yes, wonderful film. This is again one of those films that is bold, ambitious, and done very well. So there's a whole category of that. Okay, so for my number 6, it's actually not theatrically released, but instead it was an HBO documentary, The Newburgh Sting. And this was about, and especially with what's going on in France and in other places, about different arrests, about Muslims and things like that. This is a wonderful movie about a documentary about this a terrorism plot that happened in 2009, where there was an arrest of a plot that was purposely by Muslims in a mosque in upstate New York, in a really poor neighborhood called Newburgh, town of Newburgh. As it turns out, and which the movie tells you, that that it was set up by the FBI agent who got these 3 African Americans and 1 Haitian immigrant to come up with this plot, and they didn't even go to the mosque, and then FBI was the one who came up with the idea, the FBI agent, of using the sort of like where this threat should be the attempt should be at the Jewish Cultural Center near Harlem. And so when the news came out that these Muslim terrorists who met at the mosque hatched the plan and they wanted to blow up the Jewish center, well, as it turns out, they were not practicing Muslims. They never met at the mosque, and
it wasn't
hatched up with the plan of bombing a Jewish
So was this,
target.
this is for another conversation, but was this agent just trying to advance his own career?
Not just agent, FBI itself. FBI wanted to be relevant in 2009. And so one of the things in there is that the FBI agent, FBI provided the money, and FBA offered them $250,000 each, and the weapons. They explicitly said that the weapons can be the weapon seller is in Connecticut. And that was essential to make it a federal case for the FBI. And so they actually drove to Connecticut to get the weapons, even though FBI agent drove them. The seller was supposed to be an FBI person. And then it made it an FBI case. So it is, under this current situation, it's a really eye-opening documentary. And those guys...
I'll have to check it out.
So do check it out.
We're getting close to 10 minutes here, so I'm going to give you my last 2, okay?
Go to.
Number 6, Jodorowsky's Dune. I really enjoyed that film. I've been a big fan of Alejandro Jodorowsky for a number of years, and boy, that film really makes you wish that Jodorowsky had, while I am a fan of David Lynch, that Jodorowsky had been given the opportunity to make the feature film version of Dune. And it's also a good film exploring how films don't get made.
Yeah.
Even though lots of famous and talented people are involved, and the passion, everything's there, but the studios, of course, are so conservative. Hey, it's their money, I get it, but so conservative that it's just a shame to see something like that never got off the ground. So I enjoyed Jodorowsky's Dune, as a film. But
if I can mention, and the craziest dude in that one is the guy who designed the Alien later on, who went on to design Alien and Aliens, and he died last year.
Yes, he did.
What's your number 7?
Number 7 is Interstellar, which we reviewed before. And I know there's a lot of talk about, certain people are missing from the Academy Awards list of Best Directors. Well, I will say this. I think of all the films I saw last year, and I did see Selma, and it would have been great to see an African-American woman nominated for Best Director. Absolutely. I think Christopher Nolan is one of the most outstanding directors we have, and Interstellar is a fantastic directing job, and I think it's my number 7.
Let me look for it on my list also. No, couldn't find it. I liked it, but I don't think it's actually very good. And for my last one, actually, that's why I had the tie. You're talking about studios who don't take risks, so I had Lock and Under the Skin at number 7, along with Frank, which has Michael Fassbender wearing a mask all through the movie, about this crazy alternative band. It's a very bold performance. So I actually think the year was good for some of the crazy ideas, and we're talking about Jodorowsky's Dune. So I mean, I think Locke, Frank, Under the Skin, Snowpiercer, Birdman. I think these, and I would even put Boyhood. These are all films that.
Well, it's bold filmmaking. It's very unconventional filmmaking.
Did Boyhood show up on your list?
No, it couldn't because I haven't seen it. I know. I've got a long list of films I should have seen this year.
We'll have to redo this whole thing. Okay.
So well, there we are. Magnificent Seven, 2000.
Great. I will also put underneath the video. I'll put the list from both of us on so that people can actually read the list also. All right. Great.
All right. Let me know when it's up.
All right. Bye bye.